Alright, so today I got a package over here for the GR Corolla. So this is a short shifter. Let's see what's in the box. Right here, this is the short shifter from RACER X. This is, I believe, the stage 1 kit from them. So this comes with the short shifter lever right here, and then the bushings right here. So I hear good things about the bushings, and I also hear good things about the short shifter. So this has to make a perfect combo for this. So if you have a factory intake, you're gonna have to take that off. If you have a aftermarket intake, you're also gonna have to take that off. So we can get down to the shifter linkage right down there. So let's pop this Venturi intake right off, which I think we're gonna have to take off the brackets down there and here, and then this front piece will come off. I don't think I need to take the whole thing off. Opening up the boxes, like I said, you'll get these are spherical bearings, so they do give a little bit more rotation to help aid in the shifting process. And then these are the nicely machined RACER X linkages for the shifter. Very nicely packaged. Everything looks really nice. So that's 1+ already, is how nice they're packaged. But now onto the intake. I'm assuming these are going to be 10 millimeters. Alright, so let's loosen this one up. This looks like it should slide out, so I'm not going to try to take off the whole thing. And then the other one's on the other side. Okay, I have to say, if you have an Venturi intake, this is probably the dumbest design, that they put a nut underneath it, and it's also kind of rusting a little bit. If anyone is curious what the inside of this looks like, it is pretty much the carbon fiber weave. And it's actually pretty light. After you remove your airbox, whether it's your Venturi or your factory one, you'll now see your shifter bushings right here, which will be very simple to remove. I mean, especially with this being a new car. And then your shifter linkage, we're going to most likely take this off as well, so we can get full access right here. So this should be another 2 10 millimeter bolts. There was just the 2 bolts here holding that bracket on. Now we have full access to everything. But before we go any farther, I want to see the shifts inside, how long they are before we swap it, just to see the distance change from the stock to the RACER X one. I'm just gonna kind of do like a rough estimate. Right now, like the center of this shifter is pretty close to 5 inches. And that's coming off from there, and that's in neutral. So now if I shift it forward, and we kind of look, the center of the shift knob is about 3. So it's about 2-inch throw one way. So then coming back the other way, we're at about close to 7 inches or so from the middle of the shift knob. Alright, so we have about a 4-inch travel overall. So from the center, we have about 2-inch one way, and then from the other way, we have about another 2 inches. So 4 inches travel in total. Overall, not too bad of a shift. I've definitely seen longer. So we'll see how this RACER X shift shortens it up, and then we'll also go for a test drive after we install it and see how well it feels as well. But let's go back under there and switch out the bushings and the linkage. We're gonna have this cotter pin we're gonna wanna slide off, and then there's a washer. These had the 6 cents bushings in here. If you want to know my initial thoughts, I didn't really notice the difference between the stock and these ones. So whether or not they are actually worth it is up to you. I would imagine they would be a great upgrade. If your stock ones were worn out, they would be great, but from factory, I didn't notice the difference from my white Corolla to this Corolla. Alright, so also looking at this now too, they do give supplied hardware for the bushings. So you're going to need to make sure these go in a certain order when you're stacking them. I didn't realize that until I actually read the instructions. So we will stack these accordingly, and they will get stacked onto here. And they'll go in a certain order, and then this will get attached to your shifter linkage here. They tell you, they literally on their instructions, they give you the exact order. Alright, so I got everything all installed. Now I gotta tighten everything up. There's a spacer, then I did the bushing, then I put it on the, then I attached it to the actual shifter, then I did the large washer that came with the car, the crush washer, and then now the bolt. So I'm gonna tighten that up, and then we should be able to attach this first. Alright, so now we're gonna need to remove the counterweight bolts right here. So there's two 12mm bolts. Why is that? Just removed the counterweight. It does say in the instructions, as well as you can see it, that they look like they use some type of thread lockers. So I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on the new bolts that are going to go through here, just to secure them and make sure they don't fall out. But they did feel a little gummy when you're coming out, so don't think you're going to strip them. It's just the thread locker breaking loose. So let's get this attached now with the RACER X short shifter. I guess we're going to hold off on attaching the counterweight bolts first, and we're going to attach this linkage to here. So this is going to be a slightly snug fit, and you're going to want to orientate that and line it up with the two threaded holes on the shifter. Alright, and it doesn't mention anything about thread locker on any of these. I'm just going to put a little bit, just because the shifter is constantly moving. Not a lot, not at all, because I want to be able to remove these, but I just want to make sure nothing comes undone when I don't want it to. So just a little bit. Alright, and while those bolts are loose, I'm going to try to get this. Alright, and so I'm putting a little bit of thread locker on these new bolts too. Alright, so I got those two bolts fairly tight. Now I'm going to finish snugging up these with a 6mm wrench. Alright. So everything's moving nice and freely over here. But now that we changed out this short shifter, let's pull out this bushing and change this as well. So now this comes with all the hardware you're going to want to do. It's probably going to be the same thing. We're going to put the spacer on, the bushing, then that'll go on, the washer, and then the new cotter pin. Alright, I have to say, working on a car, I don't think I've ever dropped as many things as I have while I've worked on a car, except on this car. And the issue is it has a under tray, so everything that falls down never hits the ground. If you're working on a car like this, make sure you have a magnet. I should have everything all installed. I got the other bushing in. It was a little, I struggled a little bit with this pin. I dropped it the first time. Now everything is good. Make sure everything's seated good, because I did not have everything seated good and I was having problems getting that cotter pin through. But everything's tightened up. So let's take a look at how much better the shifts feel and how much shorter they are. Hopping in, everything feels normal here. It definitely does feel shorter. I don't know if it's drastically shorter. Doesn't really feel, it doesn't feel much harder to get into any gears, so that is a plus. We are probably close to 5 inches to the middle of the shifter, and now when we shift, we are at probably about 4 inches, give or take, maybe a little bit less than 4 inches, and then we are probably close to 6.5 inches. So definitely seems to shorten it up. Forward seems a little bit shorter than backwards. It shortened this up by about 1 inch this way, and this one by maybe about 1/2 inch. But let's put everything together and see how this actually feels while driving. Before I get any farther into this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, especially if you like content like this with the GR Corolla or anything Corolla related. This Venturi intake is a little bit of a pain to get to. Maybe I'm taking it off completely wrong, but I was taking it off with the brackets. But maybe the more I look at it, I should try to take the Allen keys off here so I can get to it a little easier. Also too, if you guys are interested in this short shifter kit or any other things from RACER X, I'll be dropping a link down below. Go visit them, and they make some awesome products for the Corolla platform. Like right off the bat, you can tell your shifts are much shorter, but it does have a little bit more resistance when shifting. So just always keep that in mind when you do shorten up the shifts. You are going to cause a little bit more resistance, but it's not terrible. But I mean, I know a lot of people don't like this shifter already. It is very notchy. Definitely shifts pretty nicely. It shifts really good, so I don't think you'll really notice that much resistance unless if you have driven the stock shifter for a while. But there is a little bit more, but shifts are fairly short and it feels good. Yeah, if you guys are interested in picking up your own thing from RACER X, I'll be dropping a link down below to the kit that I use. Awesome quality, fairly decent price. So if you guys want, go support them. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.